Ladies and gentlemen, I am here with it sounds so weird because it makes me feel like I'm getting a little older, but like one of my childhood heroes, the first person I ever saw play a Parker guitar, and I've been a huge fan ever since. A lot of people crap on them, but I think they're great, whatever. Formerly of CKY, and now the frontman of 96 Bitter Beings.
That's right.
Deron Miller. Deron,
thank you. What an intro. That's incredible. Thank you.
Seriously, you don't understand how many times in my mind I play these little clips of seeing you duct tape to a pole while they're shooting a music video, and you know what I mean?
Man, that fucking hurt. I remember that was 1998 or something. I was up there for a half an hour. That shit hurt, and then in the end we found out the film footage didn't take anyway. It was a 16 millimeter film, and it was all ruined, and the only clips that you see are the only ones that turned out.
Yeah, the only clips are it's like a backhand camera of them shooting, the cameraman shooting you up there.
Yeah, I think it was Joe Franz.
Oh,
I'm
I
not
love
mistaken.
Joe.
I'm not sure. It could have been somebody else, but I think it was Joe Franz. And yeah, I mean, I haven't seen that footage probably since the late 90s. I mean, I haven't. It's funny because, people watch your shit, and I watch all these bands doing shows from 93, and I talk about them now to the bands. I say, remember this show you did? They're like, no. I mean, it's the same thing with me, but I fail to see that in other people. I'm like, what do you mean you don't check out these old shows you did from 93? And I'm like, wait a minute, I don't check out my footage either.
And I think that's as a fan, though, because it has to be. It has to be a fan thing. Our nostalgia takes us back to those moments, and for them it was a Tuesday,
Right. No, yeah, I know. I mean, the experience for me, and any experience, good or bad, is something that I don't need to relive or rewatch again. It happened, and and I remember it, and I guess that's the way anybody would explain it. An artist would explain the same thing. It's done and it's over with, and I understand it. I get it.
That's it. I know you're a fan of vintage horror and sci-fi. Obviously, anyone who's listened to your music, they can pull bits and pieces from it. Is that the direction that you want to continue to move in when you?
You like science? You mean science fiction?
Yeah, when you write a song and you're coming up with lyrics, or you have an idea for not necessarily a concept album, but something horror based or
yeah. I like to tell stories in most of my songs. Some of my songs, I never get personal. None of them are ever about me or anybody else. But yeah, I like to write stories. Some songs don't turn into stories. Some songs just turn into, whatever hooks I have in my head or whatever. So I like to celebrate things. I don't like to be particularly negative. I have a sense of humor about what I do. I do like to write the dark songs, and that's what I've always been about. It's like bloody pop rock. It's taking the idea of pop, which a lot of people, especially music enthusiasts, do not like pop because it's like run of the mill. It's just corporate and it's
almost like a bad word.
Yeah, it is. It is a bad word to use pop, but there is a possibility to use pop as a sensibility and to write songs that are kind of popish, but they don't follow that ingredient, all the ingredients you need in a pop song. So I love the certain pop songs that I love. There's great songs out there from real artists that are considered pop, but in the Taylor Swift, Lady Gaga type stuff, I think that's total corporate.
Yeah.
It's just a corporate, it's like a blockbuster movie. There's no real substance to it. There's no class. It's not going to hold up.
Yeah.
It's like the Spice Girls or something. It's like.
Yeah, your late 90s boy bands. I actually have a few friends that I played music with when I was younger, and they couldn't quite get their bands off the ground, and they ended up getting jobs at record labels writing music for pop stars, and now that's their 40-hour a week thing, and they hate it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, in the rare situation where I was kind of not forced, but it was heavily insinuated that I tried to write with an easier, you know,
Mm.
song structure or whatever, or just try to write for a specific ear. It was horrible,
Yeah.
and you know, it just didn't make sense. It's like cooking something that you don't want to eat, you know,
Well,
or nobody.
have you ever noticed how many bands they have their original sound and then maybe one song gets popular and then all of their future songs now sound like that original song?
Yeah, well, because once you get that paycheck, you know, for that one song, I mean, there are people that live off of one hit song,
Oh,
you know.
absolutely.
If they, I mean, it depends on what kind of contract they write. It depends if they have a co-writer. It depends on if they sold their publishing or own their publishing or not. But I mean, you can live off of the income of one hit song, you know. And once you get that money from that, you try to duplicate the process and you try to stay in it. But in the long run, it's like chasing money is like it's like unhappy. It's like constant forever unhappy because you, anyone that has $22 million wonders why they don't have 23, and then you end up addicted to this numbering
Yeah.
of how many millions you want, and then you're never happy because what can you do with all that money anyway?
When is enough enough? When are you going to
Right,
set a cap for
exactly.
yourself?
There are billionaires that are out there still working their asses off, but not particularly enjoying what they're doing, and it's like, what are you trying to get out of this? You're trying to chase a number that you think is going to make you happy, but it doesn't make you happy.
No, because when they get to that number, then it's just going to increase again. You know,
Right.
it's a vicious cycle that unfortunately
It's an addiction.
It is. It is a
It's
true
a sickness,
addiction.
and it's an addiction. And a lot of these multimillionaires and these billionaires don't realize that they have a mental illness,
Yeah.
a sickness.
Yeah,
You know,
and
there's only so many. There's only so many things you could buy. You could buy everything, and that's the problem: is that you don't appreciate anything anymore because the money came to you. You buy everything, and you don't have anything to look forward to. You don't have anything to work for
Yep.
that you appreciate. And things are so much better, you know, when you save up your allowance when you're a kid, and you go out and you buy a cassette tape, you know, when
Yep.
you're 15, and you're like, wow, I bought this cassette tape. I don't even know who the band is, but the cover was cool. And then you end up loving that record because you earned it. But then again, you know, when you're at some kind of music festival, outdoor music festival or whatever, Lollapalooza or Ozfest or whatever, and somebody hands you a free CD, you end up chucking it on the ground because it wasn't worth anything to you.
Exactly,
You know?
yeah. And it's like you probably had a lot of good bands who worked really hard to get their song on that album. And then
Yeah.
it's like those AOL demo discs, you know what I mean? There's like a landfill probably filled with Ozfest 2001 demo discs, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's crazy. It is absolutely insane.
Yes. And rock and roll, I don't like to use the term rock and roll because it reminds me of like, you know, 60s,
Yeah.
kind of like the Coasters or Elvis Presley or something like that.
Yeah.
But you know, it's rock music, and it's not in a very good state right now because, you know, all the corporate entities that are in charge of music, the physical formats and the major labels and all that, they have no, you know, they don't have as much power and money as they do anymore. So they usually just go with the sure thing, which is the pop thing. They just roll these pop stars out, and there's none of them want to do any kind of experimentation or any chances on rock and metal bands.
Absolutely.
Because the rock and metal community isn't known for supporting in a monetary way, which I don't think is necessarily true. I think that there is plenty of opportunity for rock bands if they're good enough, they know what they're doing, if they can look outside the box. There's definitely a way to make a career in the future of this kind of music, and that's currently my goal right now. Not financially driven, just it's all passion project for me.
Yeah, and the
money is nice as soon as you get enough to live off of and you're comfortable. That's my point.
When your family's taken care of and you don't have
right,
to worry about
exactly.
where the next meal comes from or how the next bill's gonna be paid, and like
right.
I try to tell that because I deal with all independent and underground musicians here at GrindHaus Radio. If you belong to a record label, it is their job to put your stuff out there. And unfortunately, if they don't think you're worth that much, they're not going to put you out there. And it's unfair because there is a lot of talent out there right now. And luckily, we live in a day and age where you could theoretically do this on your own.
Oh, yeah. It's very difficult. It's a lot of hard work. But the thing about record companies is the bands get signed for different reasons. And now, when you think about a band getting signed to a record company, it's like, well, which one? It's certainly not Capitol or Atlantic or Warner Brothers or anything like that. Those labels are primarily scaled down to maybe 15, 20 people in an office.
Right.
It used to be hundreds. So they have to. Their jobs are to bring income into the label, which is not even a fraction of what they used to make. So they have to churn out these sure things, and I don't think they would take on a rock band unless the rock band was already successful.
Yep.
And you have all these up and coming independent labels that aren't as big as they tell the bands they're signing that they are. And what happens is that these bands sign with these really, really small labels that are barely even record companies, and then they find out that it's too late. They sign a deal, and this label can't do anything with them, and they own all their music.
Yep.
So it can be frustrating to be on a record company and to not, because it's hard work if you're not, and it's no work if you are sometimes.
And
but there's exceptions to all that. There's exceptions to all that.
In the bands that have been established over, I hate to say it, but like the last at least 10 years are the ones who seem to be getting the big shows and the big appearances. Like Foo Fighters, they've been around for years. Green Day, they've been around for years. But
exactly.
Like new stuff,
mean, think about any successful rock group these days. I mean, you don't hear much about them even in the media. I mean,
no.
You're not going to turn on your computer and hear about the Foo Fighters. You're just going to know that the Foo Fighters are a band that started with Nirvana, and Dave Grohl's over 55 years old. I mean, nowadays you can't play arenas or stadiums unless you're 55, 60 years old.
That blows my mind.
And Ozzy is still on a major label. Foo Fighters are still with a major label, but they're working with 10% of the people that they used to, and they're just kind of dragging it out to the end.
Yeah.
But there's no new rock bands really that are getting on, onto that have a lot of money being put behind them, or nobody's taking a chance on that stuff. I think the only one that's gotten that chance lately is Ghost, and I think that the major labels already given up on taking Ghost to a higher level. I think they're back doing things independently.
Yeah.
And doing really well.
Absolutely.
But I mean,
but
when
I
you think of Justin Bieber versus a rock band like Ghost, I mean, it's obvious. Let's sign more Justin Biebers.
Yep.
That's
why there's so many
talking about record companies, because they don't exist.
I know, it's sad, but I mean, like, and I'm going even back in the 90s when you look at like the startup companies like, like with No Effects and like Fat Records, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They have that brand and they have the nostalgia, but they're not doing anything like they were 20 some years ago,
Right. A lot of them are living off of re-releasing old catalog.
Yeah.
You have Sub Pop.
Yep.
Probably makes a lot of money off of Nirvana's Bleach record, because it's part of the past. It's nostalgic. A lot of labels are living off of reissues. Where people laughed at me 5 years ago when I said the future of these major labels is going to be reissuing old catalog. And they said, no, we're going to continue to find new artists. I said, bullshit, because it's falling apart, and you're going to have to rely on pressing up, vinyl and just, trying to get people interested in old material. I mean, look at the top sales of albums. It's like Metallica, Michael Jackson's Thriller, AC/DC Back in Black. It's all old stuff that they're using because they can't break anything new. So, my goal is to start up, is at least have a hand in starting up, a new cycle for rock and hard music. Because it's a shame that aggressive 15-year-old boys, have to listen to pop, while they're skateboarding or whatever, when they could be listening to what they don't know is out there. It's probably going to be their favorite thing someday.
Absolutely.
So, they're not introduced to this stuff because it's not included within the realm of the things they're interested in. You can't go on Fortnite and listen to a metal song. It's always some pop craps, rap or, whatever.
It's the same thing in Hollywood right now with the amount of remakes in the last 10 years. And it's some people say, oh, well, Hollywood doesn't have any more original ideas. Dude, go look at any independent movie right now, and you'll see some original ideas.
Oh, yeah, I know.
It's just because they know what sells, And
right.
It's nostalgia.
Right. Right. Because it's true, yeah, they don't want to take a chance on a great news story because they don't want to have to put the work into getting the word out there that this new idea is something that you should pay attention to. It's rather grab something like the Transformers or Q*bert or whatever,
Yep.
Make a movie out of that, something that, people our age are going to go pay money to see. I mean, I wouldn't.
No.
I wouldn't go see Q*bert the movie, but it's probably in the works.
I might
Donkey
have to
Kong.
check. I might have to check that out later because I bet they're gonna be pulling some of those old arcade classics here soon. Maybe even retry the Super Mario thing. Obviously, it didn't work the first time, but
right.
Who knows?
And remakes are coming out so much faster than they used to. I mean, It used to be 20 years. Now it's like they're doing sequels where you're supposed to disregard certain films.
Like the whole Spider-Man franchise. They restarted that thing in the last 20 years like 4 times.
Yeah. And Halloween, as much as I love that new movie, it shouldn't be called Halloween.
I know.
It doesn't make sense.
Well, like the new...
How many Halloween? There's 3 Halloweens. It's like, and then you have to go the 78 one, the Rob Zombie one, and the new one.
Yeah. Well, they just remade Child's Play a year after they just came out with Cult of Chucky. Like, Brad Dourif is still voicing Chucky, and then you guys go and make a Hollywood remake with Mark Hamill. And, like, I'm not shitting on Mark Hamill. He's Luke Skywalker, whatever. But why not just put out a new Chucky movie with the original? They literally
just
just
save money.
Yeah.
To save money, and they ultimately lost in that game. I mean, I'm sure it turned a tiny profit, but probably wasn't worth their efforts. It's funny when Hollywood turns down people that used to do, that are known for the character, like Jason versus Freddy was not Kane Hodder.
Yep.
And that movie did really well, but they don't put that into consideration because the amount of people that want to see Kane, to them, is insignificant. So they don't mind changing, recasting that role. But the problem is, if you had kept Kane on, you would have made everybody happy.
Yeah, you still would have had the crowd that was not familiar with it go and see it, and you would have had the diehards who were going to go and see it to support him. So, I mean, it's a win-win.
Exactly. Right. And I heard, and as far as I know, they're redoing Candyman. I think Tony Todd is involved, which is good for him because that kind of breaks the trend. That bucks the trend of casting people that are hot right now.
I just hope.
And Mark Hamill, I mean, as Chucky doesn't really make sense to me because, like, what's wrong with the original Chucky? But of course, it's a different movie. It's not
right. And I think they wanted to separate it from the original lineup and stuff like that. But they just came out with one a year before. That's what I don't understand. Like, they're
and it's
still
probably better than the new one. I saw
is.
the new one, but I haven't seen Cult of Chucky. But
you definitely check it out.
That's a straight-to-video type thing, and they want to try to reboot it as a commercial thing, and it failed.
Yeah.
I liked the idea. I just don't think it was carried out well.
I think it was rushed.
Probably rushed.
Yeah.
And it's a good story. I mean, it's a good idea, but it was poorly executed. I
Absolutely.
think. They could have done a lot more with it.
So it's actually funny that I'm talking to you right now because according to a schedule I'm looking at, you should be in Europe.
Yeah.
How have you been handling all this?
As hard as I'm making the best of it. It's weird. My sleep schedule's all screwed up. My kids are up till 5 a.m. doing what they want to do. They have these weird online classes in the morning, and it's just really weird. I try to keep busy. I mean, I'm probably handling it just as well as anybody else.
Did you guys get your first leg of the tour out of the way? From January 10th to I think February 8th.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it was fantastic.
I'm glad.
It was great.
I'm glad.
It was great to be out there. Yeah.
So
yeah,
if fans do not know, what can they expect from 96 Bitter Beings?
Well, anybody that's familiar with what I've done in the past is going to hear the familiarity in what I'm doing now with these guys. It's the same sound, it's just different outlet. And
And that's all we ever wanted.
I think I'm doing my best work. Yeah, we have our own studio, so it's not like we're paying for time. We're in no hurry.
Yep.
Get to experiment, take out, add things. It's great. It's a much better situation than East Coast, West Coast.
Yeah.
Dealing with different personalities that clash sometimes, and sometimes they don't. I mean, when it was good, it was good. When it was bad, it was bad. This is just like one smooth sailing ship. There wasn't a single problem or issue on tour, not even a technical problem. I didn't break a string.
That's crazy.
I think I might have broken a string at one show.
Can I ask?
Whereas on other tours, I'd break strings every other show, and it was like, it just went so smoothly. It was unbelievable,
Almost too perfect.
Yeah, and it was just the four of us with a road manager who was the best road manager I've ever had. His name's Matt Sheehan, and he's just born to do this job and born to be, a management, and he knows how to be. He's a musician, and he's a producer, and he mixes, and he just does everything that's about music, and it's.
So he actually
it just came together so easily, and it worked out so smoothly. No arguments. No, we were living in a van,
Jeez.
And I loved it. I loved it. I loved sleeping in the back of that van. Those guys would get a hotel room. I'm sleeping in the fucking van. I got all my stuff here. I got, my blankets. I got a pad and paper, a pencil and paper. I got, something to listen to. I can watch movies.
Yeah.
It's just make sure nothing gets stolen. I mean, it was fine.
And although I love the back catalog because I grew up on it,
right.
When I still hear something like Escape from Hellview, I get chills. The way you wrote that and the picture, literally when you were saying earlier that you tell stories, anyone who hears that song immediately is put in that position. And
the video helped too. Yeah.
Oh yeah. And the video's incredible. But
the other thing that's so great about starting a new band is that historically, people don't like new songs by old bands.
Yeah.
So now that I have a new band, I'm creating new music.
Yeah,
so it's
I can
not
see that.
like, you know what I'm saying? Like Paul Stanley says, I could, when Psycho Circus came out, which was an album that came out, after they reunited, it's like fans weren't really interested in it. They just wanted to hear Detroit Rock City.
Yeah.
And I understand that, but it's like, it doesn't matter how good the new material is. People are there for nostalgic reasons. And I think if I was still in that band, it would be a nostalgic thing, which I'm not comfortable with because I always look towards the future.
But you have so much more to offer yet, other than,
I
mean?
Like that stuff's done. I don't need to cash in on stuff that I wrote in the past and go around just playing that. I'm still writing new stuff, and I love this stuff. I love it a lot more than the old stuff, and I think that a lot of that old stuff is hard to beat. But sonically, I just like so much more how it sounds and how it's mixed, and all the new technology that we have for recording. It's easier to get the results that you want.
I almost feel bad for saying that I like the new stuff because I was a huge CKY fan growing up, and I love your new stuff almost more than CKY. And when people hear that, they're like, no, because you were this old and you were doing this. It's like, look, that music means a lot to me, but I'm a musician and listening to this, this is better. It seems like you
fall
happy.
Into the musician market. You're an enthusiast to music.
Yeah.
A lot of people are casual listeners.
Yeah.
A lot of the CKY fans were casual listeners, and then after after we started to lose some steam, we lost a lot of those people. So an album like Harbor City, which to me is my favorite record that we did, it has its flaws. I think there's too much going on. I think it could have been mixed with less stuff going on. And I do have a rough mix of the album that was supposed to be the final mix. Is so much better. But yeah, it is very cluttered. Yeah.
Will
Yeah.
that ever see the light of day?
I don't. It might be on YouTube. I don't know.
I
But
would
it
love to hear.
definitely sounds much better.
Yeah, I mean, and that's honestly like a complaint that a few people had is like the mix was just a little off and it wasn't quite where it needed to
It
be.
was just too much going on.
Yeah.
But to me, I didn't realize it because I knew everything and remembered everything that I put on tape. So when I heard it back, it all made sense to me.
Oh, right. Yeah, okay.
But I could never listen to. You can't listen to your own stuff with fresh ears. I always wished that I could get some kind of shock treatment or something in my brain and listen to my stuff, having not known that it was mine, and see what I would think, what my opinion would be.
There's a technology someone needs to invest in.
Yes.
That would be incredible to be, because I mean, when mixing a song, how many times you hear just the vocal track, just the drum, and then you hear everything over and you're trying to master the final. Like at the end of it, before anyone even hears it, you've probably heard it like 50 times already.
Right, but not only that, it's like sometimes you can do something, put something on tape that you didn't like, erase it, and then still hear it anyway because you remembered where it was.
Oh, right, yeah.
You know, so the way that songs come together from an artist and the way that the people perceive them is totally different. So I guess the end result and the best piece of advice that I could give is to just do what you want, because do what you like, play the kind of music that you like, because if you don't like it, then it's not worth doing.
Exactly.
So I can't imagine doing something that I don't like that people would like. I don't think that they would like it. I think they would see through it.
I mean, it makes sense. It does, honestly, and especially with like the hardcore fans, you know what I mean? There's always that breaking point where a lot of fans tend to dip off of certain bands because either it's not changed or it's changed too much. Like there has to be some kind of advancement, but not, over the wall kind of,
Yeah, I mean, it's like AC/DC and Slayer. They have records that always sound similar. They don't change much. But, they're originators of that certain style, so, they can go on. And I have stuff that sounds familiar to me from other stuff that I've done, but I'm the only person doing it. So
right. And that's what I'm saying. You have a sound.
Yeah, so it's something that I can keep doing without, sounding like anybody else.
Are you nerd question? What are you playing right now? As in, I know you moved away from Parker.
Yeah, I had to basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It sucks.
Well, they couldn't get a very supportive parent company. These independent guitar companies, they need a parent company through distribution and financing, and they kept being left.
Yeah.
They kept dropping them, so they couldn't get. And every time I learned who their artist relations person was, that person left because they went with the parent company.
Yeah. So they were just struggling the whole time.
Pretty much. And I was basically just having to get to know all these new artist relations people and explain who I was and what I was doing, and trying to explain to them, how much I supported the product, and sometimes they would get it and sometimes they wouldn't.
Yeah.
And I just got, kind of fed up with it. They started making them not the same. They started making really cheap ones. And they were almost knockoff of themselves. They were knocking off their own stuff. And it just...
That's sad.
I know I'm permanently going to be associated with that type of guitar, the 4 strings, the Parker, and all that stuff. But, the new stuff is another independent company that it's actually on back order because their guitars are so good. The Esoteric guitars.
Okay.
And they're amazing. I love those guitars. And they made me a custom one that has nothing but a volume knob because I don't like to be up there switching channels while I'm playing by accident. I just need a volume knob. I don't need all these different pickups that change the sound just, a little bit.
You know your sound better than anybody, though.
Yeah, I just need a volume knob. Let the amp do all those sounds. Yeah. You don't need all these switches and shit,
So I noticed I have the link for the video, which is the song that I'll be playing, On and On and On, directed by Chris Rabb.
Mm-hmm.
How many of the old friends are you still in contact with, if you don't mind me asking?
Well, there's a difference between not speaking to and haven't spoken to.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I would talk to anybody, but there's people I'm not speaking to and won't speak to because they won't speak to me. No one in particular. I'm not going to name names,
Sure.
but Chris Rabb lives near me. So,
okay.
I mean, Ted or Raytheon, he's Ted Webb to me.
Yeah.
We went to high school together, of course, and
Yep.
we were really good friends, and we still are. We just don't talk or see each other that much. And Brandon as well,
Yep.
My best friend is friends with Brandon, and we communicate that way. But, I mean, I'm not on the East Coast, and they all are, so.
And everyone, when they get older, they grow, they all move apart. It always goes the same
Yeah.
way,
Yeah, it's not, it's just when you get to be my age, you have your friends and you know everything about them, and they know everything about you, and you don't need to talk every day. But I like to keep in touch as much as I can, and on Facebook Messenger and call them up on the phone, just to catch up. But
Yep.
I mean, sometimes you can get so close to people, especially families and brothers and siblings, and you just don't talk for a long time.
Yeah, I mean,
it's really weird. You end up talking more to people you don't know as well.
Yeah, and that's what I've noticed as I've gotten older.
Yeah.
I don't know why it's like that. I honestly don't. I have no clue why we have a tendency to communicate with people that we may not necessarily know or even trust, but the people that we've known nearly our whole life, we talk to them like once, maybe every 4 months, or
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting.
So,
but I think it's just a closeness that can't be described. It's almost it's like being one person.
Yeah. Yeah.
In a way.
So where can people find your music? I know we have to wait until all this crazy stuff blows over before you guys even talk about going back on the road.
Yeah. We're doing our second leg of the U.S. Planning for September,
awesome.
But rumor has it that no shows are going to start happening till 2021, which just drives me crazy because I want to get out there. But, I'd go out with a mask. People could come in a mask, whatever. As soon as they book it, I'm going to go.
Absolutely. So, they like different isobaric chambers. Everyone gets their own little pod. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Just throw out, instead of throwing water out to people, you just throw some sanitizer out there. Whatever.
Yeah, sure.
You get a 96 Bitter Beings mask when you come in.
Oh, and everyone's going to hold on to that, so.
Yeah, that's not going to happen.
I know.
They won't allow that. So, yeah, we're under the guidelines of what the government is doing and the conspiracy theories and how strange it is that it seems like some kind of experimentation in mind control. How much can we control people's minds? Can we make them stay in their houses? Can we make them wear masks?
The media has really done a number. I mean, I always knew that the media kind of controlled the people.
They love it.
But I never knew until this situation how much the media actually controls the people.
Yeah, they love it. And I have, it's really hard for me to respect somebody that follows that shit to a T. Yeah. Oh my God, I better put a mask on. Oh my God, I better stay in. It's like, you really know, this is a perfect time to see what kind of personalities are out there, because you see people that don't have masks, and you know why. It's because they think it's a bunch of bullshit, which may or may not be true.
Right.
And then you have people that follow the rules to a T, who wear the masks the day that they suggested that you do that, and they haven't taken it off since.
Yep.
And then you know that person's glued to their TV and believing everything they're told.
Doing what they're told.
I can't believe people still do that.
Yeah, well, I mean, nowadays with media and then the internet, as a 1-2 punch, there's people right now who probably haven't left their house for 2 months. Not just the quarantine, but actually, when this came to the States, there's people who've been locked up this whole time. I guarantee they're out there. Absolutely, yeah. If you can think of it, it's being done. Yeah, definitely. And I think that's sad, because I'm kind of on the fence here. I don't necessarily, it's like 50-50. I believe some of it, but I don't
There's a lot of unanswered questions, like how is this more dangerous than any other flu?
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, you know what? I think the whole point of this keeping people inside is not so that they get infected. It's just they don't want hypochondriacs coming to the hospital. It's the medical profession that wants people to stay inside because they don't want to have to deal with all these people that think they have it or that do have it.
Every time they get the sniffles or a sore throat, you know what I mean? They just think automatically. And it is a little sad because there have been hypochondriacs before this was ever a thing. And they would, like, I know somebody who in the last year went to the hospital 118 times.
See, there you go.
He's probably hating life right now because he can no longer go. You know what I mean? It's just unbelievable. It's like something that was written out of science fiction.
Right. It is. It is. It's like a point that if you had told me this 25 years ago that we'd be at this point, I would have been terrified. Yeah. But because it's so stupid. It's an experimentation in how much you can control somebody.
But it's not a controlled experiment. It's the entire country and the entire world.
The whole world is involved, which doesn't put us in a weak spot, because if we were the only ones going through this situation, I think the rest of the world would be
my God,
using it as target practice.
Yeah. I mean, everyone's vulnerable, so it's like basically it's like the people in jail. They never attack somebody who's sleeping because they don't want to be attacked when they're sleeping. So it's kind of like that mindset. It's like, hey, let's just put everything on the back burner and focus on this. But like you said, and they were saying, you know, people who have pre-existing conditions are dying from the coronavirus. But it's like, well, this guy might have been 2 months away from death already. He gets the virus, and now you're saying that's what killed him. Like, you don't know that, you know?
And incidentally, the biggest problem is that these parents that try to keep their kids so healthy by sterilizing them all the time, they have no immune system.
I know, because they didn't learn how to fight disease in the first place.
If you don't use it, you lose it. So you have to make sure your kid gets a little bit of germs, a little dirty sometimes.
Didn't they say
you develop the immune system?
Exactly. Didn't they say you should get chickenpox as a kid so you don't get it as an adult?
Right.
Yeah. So basically,
but now they have they have needles for all that shit. You know.
Yeah.
Vaccines. They vaccinate everything. You know, everything's vaccinated. All these kids have no immune system, and they think their parents don't think they're ever going to get sick. And then when they do, it's worse than it is for somebody that has a strong, healthy immune system. And that's the logic that a lot of people are missing.
Could you imagine what it'll be like in 20 years when those kids get older?
Well, if you can't break out of the box of how you were raised, I don't think there's much hope for you anyway. Yeah. I mean, the way people always say, well, my parents did this. This is the way I was raised. Who cares about the way you were raised? It has nothing to do with now. You know, I was raised to be a good Samaritan. I was raised that religion is more important than this, and blah, 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 blah. It doesn't matter how you're raised. What do you believe yourself? You know, I certainly don't do the same things my parents did.
Absolutely not, yeah.
It has nothing to do with how I was raised. I hate when people say that.
No, because it's your personality, though. It's your life experiences, your mistakes. That's what made you who you are. Right.
Being raised is to the point when you say, okay, Mom and Dad, thanks, I'm getting out of the house.
Yep.
It shouldn't carry through to your entire lifetime unless it's something that you believe in, you know, genuinely.
But is it something you believed in or something that was forced on you, like religion or something like that? You know what I mean?
And I live around a lot of religious people that use religion as an excuse to do bad things so they can apologize to God later. And that makes no sense to me because you know in your heart that you don't really believe it, so that must mean God knows. So what's the point? Other people have to know?
Exactly.
Doesn't make any sense.
Well, I mean, that's a lot of the people who go to church on Sunday are there just to be seen.
Right.
It is a
and to just show off clothes and stuff like that.
It is a status, you know.
It's all status symbol stuff. Oh, look at my new Coach purse, you know. I want everybody to see me in this dress, whatever.
It's sickening.
Yeah, people have weird ways of showing off, and I think it's sad because I can't relate to any of them.
Yeah, but you know
what? I don't have any respect for it.
But you know what,
though? I really don't.
Like, there's always and I don't want, like you said, I don't want to use the word rock and roll, but there's like the rock community, at least like try to leave the bull. I hate when the musicians try to pull in their politics or their religious beliefs and try to force it on the fans. Like, it has nothing to do with the music or the you know what I mean?
Right. Well, they use their fame or their notoriety as a source of trying to make an impact on society with what they believe in politically. And I think that looks ridiculous, because if you're somebody like what's her face, Marilyn Manson's ex-wife.
Oh, what the hell? Is it Daniela or?
No, it's that bitch from Scream.
Oh, not Campbell, right?
No, not Neve Campbell.
Carmen Electra?
No, her best friend in the first film. Can't even think of her name. That's how B she is.
Oh man, you gotta.
But she's very politically active, and it's really embarrassing because she doesn't know what she's talking about.
And it just
but she thinks she does, because her comments are read by a lot of people because of who she is. But people think she's an idiot because she doesn't know what she's talking about. So yes, I do believe that actors and musicians need to keep their political opinions to themselves, because A, it's no one else's business, and B, people are going to just hate you for it anyway.
Yeah.
So keep it to yourself.
I mean, unless you get one of those people who's basically like Ted Nugent, who his fans are specifically there to hear him rant and rave about his lunatic.
Well, anybody's going to, any ridiculous point of view, whether it's ridiculous or not, is going to have some kind of following.
Absolutely, yeah.
I mean, you have white supremacists that have followers.
Yeah.
There's no kind of love or hate out there that does not have followers. There's always going to be people that agree and disagree with you, but I don't think that has anything to do with your art, what you're doing artistically. If you're primarily out there to be a politician and to spread these points of view and have people either disagree or not, that's a whole different career, if it could even be a career. But everybody, especially college kids, they want to make some kind of impression on society because they don't know any other way to do it. So they come up with these ideas that abortion is murder or abortion is not murder, and there's rape culture and there's not rape culture, and touching somebody inappropriately or touching a woman inappropriately on the shoulder is sexual harassment. Some even go so far as to say touching someone inappropriately, which they think is inappropriate, to touch someone on the shoulder or in the hair or whatever, is rape. When I was in health class, I learned that rape was penile penetration.
Yeah. And
That's it.
And they could say sexual assault is different.
And that a man could not be raped. Was a fact.
Right, and look at the time that we went to school, and look at what they're peddling now to the kids. Like, dude, I don't have kids, and I'm actually kind of grateful, because I don't think I would feel comfortable sending them to school knowing what some of these schools are actually trying to get our kids to say and do. Especially since, when I was in high school, we were told as a fact that in 20 years, if everything was by the year 2000, by the year 2000, by the year 1994, okay? By the year 2000, 75% of the world will have AIDS. By the year 2000, there will only be 10% of the Earth's water will be ingestible. That's what I was told. By the year 2000, all fossil fuels will be gone. I do remember that one.
None of that stuff came true.
Yeah.
And just like now, how they're saying, whatever facts they think they have now, they're always going to change. The computer class I went to in middle school has nothing to do with computers.
Yeah, but I could type ASDFJKL semicolon or whatever. Nothing to do with, or play the Oregon Trail. You used to tell computers, they were little black screens with green letters. You used to tell them, RUN, run, and then you would press enter, and then you would type in the program, and then you would get some little game, like Pong or something. Yeah.
And this is stuff that we were learning in class. This was taking up all of our time. It was a waste of my time as I see it. And now I can't use that information.
Yeah, and then, they don't teach how to file your taxes. They don't teach you how, you know what I mean? Like actual stuff that you need when you're an adult.
Well, the teachers are told not to teach kids that because they want people to screw up on their taxes so they can fine them.
such a...
You know, they don't want you to learn that stuff. It's profit. You make a profit off people's mistakes. You know, when we were trying to arrest this guy that was stalking my daughter, they took their time because the end game was not going to be financially rewarding. There was no money to make off of arresting this guy. But if you don't stop at a stop sign, they're going to make $300 off you.
Yeah.
That becomes more important. It's like they send cops out there to make money. Now it's like peddling. It's like you have to pay monetarily for your mistakes.
Yep.
And
people still don't learn, because that's the weird thing. Like, you would think if, like, they say, oh, well, we give you these fines so you don't do it again. And that's not the case. They hope you do it again. They
of
know
course they hope you do it again.
Because they want that money.
Just like they used to, it was an old term. It was called entrapment.
Yeah.
Where cops weren't allowed to sit and wait for you to do something wrong.
Yep.
But now you have cops that sit outside bars and they wait for people to get in their car so they can pull them over for some stupid reason that wasn't true and see if they're drunk. Because a DUI is $10,000 in their pocket.
And there's thousands of DUIs across the country
a
day.
Yeah.
I mean,
prom night, St. Patrick's Day, Christmas Eve, New Year's Day. These are all huge money-making times.
Yep.
For police.
Did you see I'll have to send it to you. It's a link from YouTube about civil forfeitures, how cops can find money in your vehicle, whether you have like drugs or anything. Like, if they search your car and they find that you have like over $2,000 or $3,000 or $4,000, they're taking it, even if you don't. Yeah. And then if for you to fight it to get that back is going to cost you more money and a lawyer. Yeah. And even after all that, you might only get a percentage of it back. How is that That's fucking gangster stuff. How is that legal?
Yeah, well, let me tell you, the only people that can afford to do something about these things are rich people. And rich people don't care about losing $3,000.
Exactly.
So as middle class and upper middle class, lower middle class, if we have something stolen from us, they know that you're going to have to go through more trouble than it's worth. Yeah. That's why they take small sums of money. That's just the way it works. We have to maneuver as human beings, like we're maneuvering through this slime pit, and we're trying to find a way out. It's like a maze. And sometimes when you hit a dead end, you get hurt in some way. And then you just have to find it until the exit, and then you die. You have to maneuver within the realms of our, of what we're limited to, and hope that you can find some kind of happiness out of it. Because everybody's out there for greed. And like I said before, what the hell is money going to get you when you have too much of it?
Exactly.
But moving on to music.
Yeah. It's funny because obviously,
I'm rarely political, but, I see both sides of every story pretty much for the most part. I know that some people aren't capable of changing their minds. So
it's important to know both sides, because there's too many people out there who pick a side and they stick by it no matter what. And you just have to be informed.
Some people have to learn that sometimes there's no right or wrong. There just is, Like,
that's tough.
Like arguments. People try to win arguments, but you're both yelling and you both have a point. You're both losing and you're both winning. So it's like, why does everything need a winner or a loser? Sometimes there's no right or wrong. It just is. So you have to let the people that think something's right do what they think is right, and the people that think it's wrong, they don't have to do it. But it's none of their business to tell the people that think they're right to stop doing it, if that makes sense.
It does. Oddly enough, it does.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if somebody wants to get an abortion because of a medical reason, or they just can't have a baby, they're in danger, you still have people that are going to fight them on that, Like if a woman gets impregnated by a rapist, she doesn't want to have, of course she doesn't want to have that kid.
Right.
So, I mean, but you're going to have people that are still going to say it's murder, but even if the woman's life is in danger, I'm in danger of being pregnant, it could kill me. You're still going to get people that are going to say you should go through with it.
Yeah, you should take the chance to bring another
life. And then you
have,
right, but then you have people out there that are 8 months pregnant that want an abortion. And that could be seen as right or wrong as well. So nobody's right and nobody's wrong. Just let it be.
That's the final answer. It is, yeah.
Stop trying to correct people that think that they're doing the right thing.
And when you win an argument,
they think you're doing the wrong thing.
And
they think you're doing the wrong thing.
When you win an argument, honest to God, like, what, do you get like an inch taller or do you get like $100? Like, there's
There's
no
satisfaction.
actual.
There's no satisfaction in winning an argument anyway, because you're both hurt.
Yeah.
You know, it's a very small victory. So, I don't know. I don't partake in arguments anymore. I don't.
You know what? It's not worth the time and the effort.
Right. Yeah, well, with my kids, if they keep going on with shit, I just scream as loud as I can, and then it stops. I don't take sides. You know.
Yeah, just end the
Sometimes
madness.
I'll just say you're all wrong, and you're all right. Now stop.
Yeah, everyone gets what they want, and that's it. Just enough.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. I mean, yeah. Politics. I don't
blame you.
Who can discuss it? You know. I mean, it would be fun in a nice environment, in a friendly environment,
like an actual discussion. Like
Yeah.
what we're having. Like, we're able to have a
they
simple
call
discussion.
it debates. There's debate teams where you learn how to professionally argue,
Right.
which I don't think is a very healthy thing. But I mean, yeah, a debate is a debate. But you know, there are people that I admire, like what's his name, Ben
Shapiro.
The
guy knows his stuff.
But then he has some political views that I don't agree with. You know?
But the thing is, he's well prepared. So a lot of people
prepared.
People aren't as prepared. So even if you don't agree with what he's saying, he's bringing up points that people cannot argue against. He is
But he's also very quick at being focused and clever.
Yes.
And just because he's quicker at coming back at somebody and destroying them, that doesn't mean that person is destroyed. That might mean that person needs a little bit more time to think of what they wanted to say.
And people may not remember that person did have a valid point before getting owned, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, yeah.
That it does bug me, but
right. So that means there's just all kinds of people that believe some things are right and some things are wrong. Ben Shapiro's up there trying to argue, you know, certain things that I agree with, but he's wearing a yarmulke on his hat, which is a religious thing.
Yeah.
You know, and that's, you know, something that he believes in, and there are some people that think that that's ridiculous. I have no comment. You know, I'm not bothered by people's religions, what they decide to wear or do, whatever.
No, but if they force it on somebody else, that's where I get a problem.
That's what's interesting. It's like, why do you need to be wearing that in front? I mean, it's just, I don't know. Well, I don't know how we got on this topic.
I know, it's so weird. It's literally like we just had a podcast episode here because we covered so much and we've been everywhere. And I would love to have you on again when you get more spare time. I do know when all this is said and done, you will be right back on the road. And who
has more spare time right now than any, you know, everyone
exactly.
has spare time right now.
We all have a little bit, you know?
Yeah.
So where can people find your material, your merch? Where can they buy some albums?
It's hard to find. I have to figure out what's going on with my big cartel store right now because they're not accepting payments for some reason. I think I have to update something.
Okay.
But merchandise, I mean, sold out. Fuck. I mean, we made tour shirts. I have one. I was lucky to be able to keep one. And I have like 5 extra smalls.
Yeah.
Note to yourself, don't make extra small T-shirts if you're a band.
Yeah, maybe a couple baby shirts for friends, but that's it.
Right. Yeah. You know, our stuff can be 96 Bitter Beans material can be found on Spotify, Apple Music, iTunes, Amazon, YouTube. You can order the album. I have a couple vinyl pieces left. But that's on my big cartel store. I got to figure out where that's going. But, you know, go to my Facebook. That's right. I do not do Instagram. I don't. And, you know, I've been, you know, I've gotten into trouble for not using these things because they're good for promotion, but I'm just not a multimedia type guy. Facebook was the one that I learned, and I just kind of stuck with that.
Yep.
I don't need to tweet. I don't need to take selfies.
Nope.
And I don't, you know, I just don't need to do that. It's not my thing. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. It's just, it doesn't appeal to me.
Sure, and it's easier with one. You know what I mean? If you're a big band, you have people that control all your social media stuff.
Right.
But
so right now we're doing all of our social media by ourselves, and it's growing and it's doing well. I don't know anything particularly about it. My job is to be the creative part and meet with the people that I'm working with, do interviews like this. You know, work with the record company that we're going to be working with, and then they can take over from there.
Yep.
So,
It's just about
You know,
having fun.
Yeah.
As long as you have fun doing what you're doing, you're not going to really get burnt out. You know what I mean? It's when you start getting stressed that you start feeling
Right.
that burnt out
I have
feeling.
to avoid stress because it causes so many problems physically and emotionally for me.
Yeah.
And I have really bad hormone issues as it is. I have very bad chemical imbalances and hormonal surges of bipolar, I guess they would call them, bipolar.
Yeah.
So I have to avoid stress, So we have a saying around here: if it's not fun, it won't get done, which is true,
Nice.
In this house, try to
Yeah.
avoid stress as much as possible. So I've had my share.
I know. I mean, anyone who's paid attention, they know what you've been through, but I'm so glad that you're doing something that makes you happy. It's stress-free for the most part.
Yes.
And
it's a good stress.
yeah, it's the stress that you want. It's like the rewarding kind of stress, like working hard. And you still have all your fans that love you, and like that feeling alone.
That's the greatest gift of all. It's a gift to be told that, and it's a gift for it to be a reality. I do have fans that are so loyal, and to be gaining more is even better, because it's so hard now for people that have been out of the spotlight to even recapture their old fans.
Yeah.
So it is good. It makes me feel like that I have my own thing that people can connect to, which makes me feel good about the music that I like to write, because if I like listening to the stuff that I'm doing now, which I do, then I know that it's going to be just as good, if not better, for people that like what I'm doing. So it drives me to make it better.
It's gonna be hard to make it better because it's so good. I mean, like, you would really have to put out like something like out of this world to be better at what you're doing now, because like I said, I listened to everything you guys have put out since 96 Bitter Beings, and it is a new feeling. Like, yeah, of course the nostalgia for the old stuff is great, but this is
that was
excitement.
a different band, though.
Right.
Yeah, this is a new band. That's what's so good about
That's where
having
the
a new
excitement
band.
comes from.
Yeah.
I'm really
the
happy
only
for
negative
you.
thing about the album that's coming out, Synergy Restored, is that it's going to be really hard to top. I'm already looking forward to that. Like, how am I going to top this? But I used to say that about all the records.
And you managed to do it each time.
I'm still climbing a ladder. I'm not still on the same rung or going down a step or two.
Absolutely.
I've got this huge ladder, and I think a lot of people, by my time in my career, have kind of settled into a mundane, assembly line of just churning out what they do and not really caring if it's filler, or maybe not doing their best, or maybe they are doing their best and they just don't have it anymore. Whereas I still feel the challenge, even in this musical environment, when there isn't as much interest as there used to be, and there isn't as much financial backing, and there isn't as many outlets to get music out as there used to be. It's still exciting for me, because my passion and my goals are to try to change things like that and make it better, or at least be part of the change and part of making it better. That's what drives me.
And all you musicians and artists out there who I've featured on this show, and you're listening, take these words to heart, because you will. I'm serious. You will not be happy when you make it to the top, whatever your top is. If there's nothing above it, you will not be happy. You need to always go up.
I would love to see how the Nickelback guys feel right now.
Oh, dude!
Because it's an obsolete. It was an obsolete thing that drove them to millions. It's FM radio drove them to record sales. Now that they've lost that, and they can't sell their music to people because their music, the popular consensus back then was that they were one of the worst bands ever.
Right.
So there's a couple things I would like to know, with no disrespect. Did they hate their music? Do they hate their music? And how does it feel to go from selling 10 million records to not even selling 300,000 records? It must be like, oh my God, now we're playing music we don't like and we're not even selling it.
Darren,
Yeah, it's interesting. I would love to have a conversation with somebody in that band.
I know. It's
Just for my own, to learn something,
right.
not to argue.
No, absolutely. And even if I could get Chad or anyone else in that band on the line, just even like 15 minutes, I would be calling you immediately because I'm
I would love to find out. You don't hear anything about them anymore because the way that you used to hear about them no longer exists.
Right. And I wouldn't even release it. It's not like I would do it to try to put it out there and like embarrass anyone. Like now I have a legitimate like wondering like are these guys going to be playing How You Remind Me for the next 35 years?
Right. And do they really like that song? Like, my question, even when they were on top, is like, do they really like this stuff that they're doing, or they just have a formula that's making them money?
That's so weird.
Because they are musicians, and I pick Nickelback out because they are fans of metal and they are fans of intricate music.
Yeah. Oh, when you hear them talk about their influences, you say to yourself, how the fuck did you guys come up with this then? Because, I mean, like, their guitar player, he's like, yeah, oh my God, I grew up, I love Anthrax, It's like, what?
Yeah. So why are you doing this stuff? Well, it's obvious why.
Well,
it's obvious why.
Because it sells.
And, there's a small group of people that don't accept me into the death metal world because of the music that I played and I made a career out of.
Mm.
And that's interesting because you would think that, okay, I wasn't like we weren't like a pop band. We obviously had our own sound.
Yeah.
And a lot of the music that I write is based off of, death metal and stuff. And I did a death metal record. But there are some people that say, oh, who is this? And then as soon as they hear my name, they all of a sudden don't like it. And that's kind of strange because it has nothing to do with the music. They liked it before they heard who it was.
Yeah, and then they're associating one person in a band with something that was out previously, which it's not the same band, so why not give it the shot?
Right. And the thing with metal is that when you're a metalhead, quote metalhead, and then I don't think there's a bigger metalhead out there than I am. If you're a metalhead, instinctually the way you should look and the things you should like are trying to be elitist. There's an elitist, list of things.
Yeah.
And the true metalheads can accept anything and enjoy any kind of music. Mm-hmm. If it's good,
it has to be good though. That's the thing.
Right.
If you got somebody, I remember there was an actor who tried to put out a metal album, and like
it was Will Smith's wife.
Oh.
She thought, she was like, this Ozfest thing seems really cool. I think I'll put a band together. And go, sorry, sweetheart, you can't just start. Decide you're going to be metal and get out there. It doesn't work that way.
Yeah, like if Bieber tried to put out a metal album tomorrow, it would sell in the pop section still because it has his name on it. But you're not going to have. You might have like that one closet metalhead who has it, and then he gets his ass kicked when his friends find out that he has it.
Unless there was a possibility that he was a metalhead. And did know about the music, she doesn't know. She didn't know about metal at all. She didn't.
No,
she didn't. She wasn't a fan of any metal bands. She just thought it looked cool to get up there and scream. But there's a whole lot more to it than that, sweetie.
Well,
I mean, it's just...
Yoko Ono thought the same thing, but look what happened,
there you go.
Yeah,
I mean, she was brilliant. She destroyed the Beatles. She married the biggest Beatle and made herself a nice life.
Yeah.
Just like Courtney Cobain or Courtney Love.
Courtney
Same
Love.
thing.
Yep. She's been
Get
living
in there,
off that.
break up the band.
Yep.
And
now she's still touring as whole, playing the same. I think they only ever released like 3 albums, so they don't have like a whole bunch of material. But she's still out there playing those songs from 30 some years ago. And then if someone shows up to this concert and they're wearing a Foo Fighters shirt or Nirvana shirt, she flips out on them. Like, what? Come on.
Whatever. I'm not. I don't know that feud is not of interest to me.
Yeah.
I'm not a big fan of Courtney. I don't know what appeal she has. She's not particularly attractive. Again, no disrespect.
No.
It's so disrespectful.
Isn't it funny when
my
people
opinion.
say...
I don't think the woman has any talent. I think she's fooled a lot of people into thinking that she's had talent, and she's used her connections and used people.
Well, in 97, she was on the red carpet, and they asked her for advice, and she actually looked around and said, I don't know if I should say this. And then she said, if Harvey Weinstein invites you to a pool party, don't go. So, I mean, I think I kind of know how she got her, gigs, but
Oh yeah.
that's literally where that lays.
Well, that probably had a lot to do with the acting career she had,
Yeah,
But her music career was all about, getting in with people that had already made it and faking her way to some kind of credibility.
yeah,
But I mean, she's, I don't know. I don't know what significance or relevance she holds today, but I mean, that's just something that I don't see the wrong or the right in it. It's
exactly.
it's just weird.
I stand with you there 100%, and like you said, you're not wrong, you're not right. It is
You do what you got to do.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, this was awesome.
The Weinstein thing is ridiculous, though, anyway, because it's like you did what he told you to do, so what are you complaining about? So it doesn't make any sense.
And that's the thing. They all knew. It's not like it was like thrown on them out of nowhere. Like they all knew before having meetings with this guy. They knew about him, and they still did it.
And now they're all considered heroes for turning him in. It's like you're worse, kind of.
Yeah, I mean,
you wouldn't have gotten the part had you not done what he made you do.
Yeah, and then there was a bunch of
deserving...
deserving...
Not even made you do. It was your decision. He didn't make you do it.
Yeah, you could have easily walked out.
They're more of the scumbag.
Yeah, because
you're compromising your integrity to get money and a role in a movie.
Yep.
That's worse than what he did. You didn't have to do it. He didn't make you do it.
There was no gun to your head or nothing like that.
But now they're all heroes, these people, and that's just a crazy concept to me.
It is. We live in a weird time, man. We really
do. Weird. Look, the PC thing is just off the charts. You can't say anything anymore, but I say them anyway. They're words I learned, and I still use them.
Absolutely. And if they don't like it, fuck them. Let them cry. I don't care.
Right. I don't give a shit either.
This was seriously awesome. Darren, it's like literally, man,
it's a pleasure.
I cannot thank you enough. The band 96 Bitter Beings, if you haven't heard it, stop what you're doing right now. I know you got a phone on you. Go on YouTube, go on Spotify, check it out, and then thank me later because you will be happy.
With the first album, Campaign, is out. It did very well. We have the Synergy Restored coming out hopefully summer or fall. And already working on the third album and second leg of the tour and Europe tour. So
and as
all
soon as
good things to look forward to once we can get out there and breathe again, right?
Yeah. Well, as soon as your next album drops or is about to drop or you're about to start the next leg, I'll contact you and we'll do this again and we'll let everyone know where you're going to be and, you know what I mean, where they can find you out on the road and things like that.
And if you have someone that wants to debate.
Oh, you know what?
We can do that as well.
I actually do have someone next time, but I'll work on that for the next time.
Okay, good. That sounds good.
All right, Darren, seriously.
Nothing wrong with a nice, friendly debate.
Friendly. Friendly.
Exactly. If it can stay that way.
I want to thank you, literally, for taking the time out of your night and just chatting it up with me. You mean a lot to me, and I want you just to be happy and keep doing what you're doing and be safe. As safe as you can be, at least.
Well, you too. And you couldn't stop me if you wanted to.
All right, bud. You have a good night.
All right, take care.